What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So let's start this video with the awesome physique update from Regan Grimes. So a whole lot of trash talk and criticism went towards Regan Grimes when he made the decision that he won't be competing in 2024 at all. So the reason for all that trash talk, all that flick, that was pretty simple. That was the second time in the last 3 years that Regan decided to take the whole year off. But his reasoning, that made a lot of sense. Because even though we saw he was able to get bigger last year in 2023, I believe he was extremely satisfied with his Olympia look in terms of how peeled and how conditioned he was. Because this was like the very first time at the Olympia stage, he was able to bring a shredded look. But at the same time, he was a bit flat in the chest and the shoulders area, and he needed to get more fullness, especially in those particular areas. Plus, in my opinion, I think he needed bigger quads. And he needed bigger biceps. And that just wasn't possible in just a few months of off-season. So here is Regan Grimes, ready for another big push to gain some more muscle before he picks up a shoe and starts to diet down for 2025 season. So Regan is among those tall aesthetic bodybuilders who could compare extremely well to the likes of Rafael, Brandon Curry, William Bonac, and so many others. But that being said, in terms of the overall size, the pure density and the thickness, he still doesn't even look close to the likes of Samson Dauda or Andrew Jacked. So Regan's trajectory, that is almost similar to that of Rafael Brandao. Both these guys came onto the pro scene back in 2017, but both these guys took a lot of time to really grow to get bigger for the men's open class. So the Arnold 225, that could be a really good option for Regan Grimes to make a very strong comeback and make a big statement that he can be a real force at the Olympia next year. Next up, we have a post-Olympia physique update of Hunter Labrada. So Hunter is currently in Korea, enjoying some good food, some culture and training. So the post-Olympia phase, that is quite enjoyable for many of these Olympians. And Hunter is making sure that he puts all that to good use. And it kind of makes sense why Hunter isn't doing any of these post-Olympia shows, where he can easily win one and get his Olympia qualification for next year based on his performance at this year's Miss Olympia. So the reason is very simple. He had a very long Olympia prep, and for the very first time, Hunter intends to compete at this upcoming Arnold. So his body needs some rest, some break, before he starts blasting again. So that makes a lot of sense. So the Hunter that we saw at the prejudging of the Olympia this year, on Friday, that was, I have to say, something else. That was something special. Great muscularity, great conditioning, and no surprise that he was clearly ahead of Andrew Jacked after Friday and really fighting with Martin Fitzwater for that fourth spot. So all that new muscle that Hunter built in 2024, that really came to life because he was peaked better than ever, because he was more conditioned than ever. I guess he needs to work the hardest on his midsection, on his abs, because the thing is that judges are really concerned about that, because it kind of takes away from a lot of his front shots. But him doing that vacuum in the front double biceps, that really helped him a lot. So the Hunter that we saw here just 2 weeks ago, that is altogether a different bodybuilder compared to what we saw back in 2021 when he placed his career's best, 4th in the world. And that's just how competitive the men's open bodybuilding has become over the last few years. Vito outangled the former 2-time Miss Olympia, one of the biggest bodybuilders of all time, Big Ramy at the Dubai Muscle Show. And I thought that this could just be the angle, until this picture was posted on RX Muscle. Turns out Big Ramy is a bit downsized. He has stayed over 300 pounds for more than a decade in his career. And now that he is over 40 years old, he has really got to be very careful and how to approach any competition prep, which is also a very big if. Because we do not know whether Big Ramy is ever gonna step back on any bodybuilding stage. I think the approach of Brandon Curry, that is the one to be followed by Big Ramy here. He doesn't have to blast the gear and the PEDs all year long. Focus on staying healthy as much as he possibly can and do a 16 weeks prep. So it has been 2 years since Big Ramy last stepped on stage, and that was at the Arnold 2023. So his last Miss Olympia, the Olympia 2022, that is the competition that Big Ramy just won't like to remember, because he dropped down from 1st to 5th in a title defense. And that's just not it. That simply wasn't a look that Big Ramy or the team around him was really proud of. So his last show, the Arnold Classic 2023, he looked phenomenal there. And it is still so shocking to so many of us bodybuilding fans. That's how all of the fans, all of the experts, all of the legendary bodybuilders, they were able to see so much improvements on Big Ramy from the Olympia to the Arnold. But the judges said he looked the same. So that just really did not make any sense whatsoever. So there was definitely a Big Ramy comeback on the play last year when he started working with Patrick Tour. And these guys were together for a while. Now we never really found out what actually happened, why they split up. Maybe Ramy should go for one last show before he hangs up the posing trunks, retire on the stage, get a standing ovation, because he has been one of the most exciting bodybuilders of the last decade or so, or I'm gonna say in the bodybuilding history. Next up is the 2 weeks out physique update from Rafael. So that's Brandao on very low carbs for the last few days. And when you look at that physique, it's truly ideal when he is standing alone. So aesthetic, top to bottom. And you cannot even spot one weakness. We know he wants to win the Olympia title for himself and for Brazil, but he simply isn't there, especially in terms of the size that is needed to be competitive against the top 5 that we saw at the Olympia this year. Now, some of us really thought that Rafael Brandao and Martin Fitzwater, that is gonna be a quick showdown. But Martin's conditioning was just so damn supreme. The judges did not even consider putting Brandao next to him. But as far as this upcoming Romania Pro is concerned, Brandao is the clear favorite to win this one. I believe the only way he is gonna lose this show is that if he doesn't show up in shape, if he isn't on, which I think is highly unlikely, because Rafael has stayed pretty lean in this post-Olympia phase, and he has stayed very regimented with the diet and training. So I think he is most probably gonna win this show, and also secure his Olympia spot for next year. So with the amount of money that is being given in some of these shows in 2025, it will be really interesting to see if Brandao jumps into some of these shows, like the Dubai Pro or the Pittsburgh Pro. Carlos Thomas Jr. confirms that he's going to be making his comeback to Detroit Pro next year, and this is a comeback that I am really excited for.
We are doing the Detroit Pro.
So Carlos is a very special talent, and we got so close to seeing him on the stage at the Arnold Brazil this year. But a death in his family that forced him to end his prep and look for another show. So it is really unbelievable that Carlos won his pro card back in 2021, and we have only seen him on the stage with the pros just once, and that was at Texas Pro last year. And one thing about his physique was pretty clear. He had amazing quads, great front and side shots, but he doesn't have the thinnest skin. So we do not know whether that's an issue with the young muscle or his genetics are like that. We have talked about Samson Dauda not having the thin skin throughout his career, but eventually he proved us all wrong. That with time, and with dieting extremely hard, more detail can be achieved. So Carlos will be stepping on the stage after 18 months or so. So we will definitely expect his back to be improved in this time frame, because that is the only thing that is really holding him back. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.